Very truly, I tell you, anyone who does not enter the sheepfold by the gate, but climbs in by another way, is a thief or a bandit. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and then leads them out. And, and when he has brought out all of his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow because they know his voice. They will not follow a stranger, but they will run from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. Jesus used this figure of speech with the disciples, but they did not understand what he was saying to them.
So again, Jesus said to them, "Very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and bandits, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because the hired hand does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason, the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have the power to lay it down, and I have the power to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father."
The Gospel of John is full of I am statements, right? And it echoes God saying, my name is I am, I am, I am. That's it. That's all you need. And so Jesus will give these images in the Gospel of John, like, I am the bread, I'm the bread of life, I am the way, the truth, and the life, I am the vine, I am the resurrection and the life, I am the light, I am the gate. Sometimes it's I am the door, depends on who wrote it. I am the good shepherd. And I am, to be honest, not interested in most of the I am statements. Mostly because I experience the I am statements to be deployed in really sort of negative ways. Like, it's very gatekeepery when Jesus says, I am the gate. Like, literally, I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved. Consider John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And so I don't know if you have ever heard anyone quote this scripture in a positive, life-affirming way. I'm waiting. Okay. I imagined that we would have that shared experience, but I'm open if you had some other beautiful moment. And the I am statements are these like mysterious, beautiful poetry that really get used today to tell you who's going to hell, who's in, who's out, who gets through the gate, who gets in the door, who comes to this good place, and who goes to the bad place. The thing is, Jesus isn't really necessarily talking directly to us or in our culture, because probably he would use a different metaphor than shepherding and the gate. And I'm not sure what that is, so I'm not going to take a leap right now, but I have thoughts. If we had been contemporaries of Jesus, or of the community that receives the Gospel of John some years after Jesus' death, we would kind of have a different understanding of what Jesus means when he says, I am the gate. Because we might all have some woolly little creatures Every family likely had a few sheep for the wool and for this kind of what it provides to a family. And so Kenneth Bailey talks about Palestinian shepherding practices. And so we're going to go back into ancient Mediterranean animal husbandry again for just a moment. You're welcome. Folks who have a few sheep in a village maybe take care of them collectively. And there is this structure built in the village at night, this round stone structure. And the sheep come in at night, and the shepherds then call them out in the morning, and they go out into pasture. And usually in that kind of situation, it's like a tween-teen sort of shepherd boy or girl. Everybody can shepherd. But folks who have larger flocks, like this is their kind of primary income, maybe they are sort of, middle-class shepherds, if you will. These folks with larger flocks take the sheep out into various pastures, and there's all kinds of they're not wandering, just so we're all clear. They know where they're going. They have a plan. They probably have a plan B and a C and a plan D just in case the weather gets bad. And out in these wilderness places, out in these pastures, there would be a round stone enclosure. And on the top would be thorns and maybe jagged pieces of rock and glass built into the stone enclosure. And everybody would share it. And at night, the shepherd would bring the sheep into the stone enclosure. But the stone enclosure doesn't have a door or a gate. The shepherd lays down at the gate. He becomes the gate. She becomes the gate. They are the gate. Maybe they have a great little sheepdog, and that keeps everybody a little more pleasant. They might build a fire, but they are the gate. It is this role of deep vulnerability and protection from all of the elements, from all of the predators, whether they have 4 legs or 2 legs. And Jesus names again and again how he is willing to be that gate for his community, to lay down and be vulnerable in the face of the work of making life abundant for everyone and safe for everyone. See, when we understand this notion of the gate, it's a lot different to hear, I am the gate, right? It's not gatekeeper. It is, I am the gate, this work of protection and vulnerability, this leadership that is open, so open to being vulnerable in the midst of the world. That's what a good shepherd is about. And then there's these other characters that Jesus names in his metaphor. There's thieves and bandits and wolves, right? There's thieves and bandits and wolves. The sheep are vulnerable to predators, 2-legged and 4-legged predators. And so Jesus names these threats in this passage. So again, Jesus said to them, very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and bandits, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters by me will be saved and will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. Now we can imagine the impact of a wolf or some other hungry predator who needs like a quick meal of, mutton. But the work of a bandit or a thief in this time, they're not really taking the sheep to try and add to their own flock. They typically in this time took the sheep and then butchered it right away, sold everything off for a quick profit. Because you can't have the evidence of your sheep stealing situation. And so the Good Shepherd is the one who protects the sheep from this work of these bandits and these thieves who have no concern and no care for the sheep. Now, some of you know my friend, the Right Reverend Chris Jorgensen, and she has shared this story in the past, that as a elementary school Catholic school girl, hearing this story about the sheep in the gate and the bandits and the thieves who come in the wrong way and who steal and kill and destroy, she heard it as like, you might be a bandit or a thief. And she wanted so desperately to not be bad, to not be this bad person. Knowing Chris now, at nearly 50, I find it hilarious, but also tragic, like tragic in our church, that a child hears so much about shame and sin, about being good and bad, about who is in and who is out, that they assumed they might be the bad guys. The notion that Jesus' story about a good shepherd makes a child afraid that they are sinful, that they are creating harm, rather than inspires them, I think that gets right to the heart of our problem as a modern faith. Jesus isn't talking about the thief and the bandit and looking at the vulnerable people he's speaking with. He's certainly not looking at elementary school children and like really concerned about their behavior. Jesus is constantly challenging folks, but if you look when he's challenging folks about their behaviors, about what they're doing, about how they don't or do take care of their community, it is not the vulnerable people that he is serving. They're the religious and political leaders of the day. There are folks who are failing to take care of the sheep. There are folks who allow Rome to come in and steal and kill and destroy. There are folks who collude with Rome. The Gospel of John is written after Rome is sacked. After Jerusalem is sacked. Rome is sacked in like 410, sorry. 70 years after Jesus, this city is destroyed, utterly destroyed. The Romans will lead masses of people into slavery. And you can still see the impact of their work when you go to the Colosseum in Rome. The people are scattered, the people are torn, the people are butchered, and the hired hands, the political, religious leaders, ran away. See, the Gospel of John is written in coded language. It's written by very oppressed people who can't come right out and say, like, we have a real problem with the structure of our government. They can't come right out and say Rome is the worst, and they can't come out and say King Herod was a really bad king, and look at the economic impacts of all of his work. They can't come right out and talk about the price of eggs. And they can't come out and talk about DEI initiatives, and they can't tell all of the stories that they want to about why things are going wrong and the dream that they have for how things could be better. But they can tell stories about a good shepherd and how he is different and how we can all be different. There's this other notion in these metaphors about the voice. The sheep know the voice of the shepherd. It says he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out, and when he has brought them out, they go ahead of him. He goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. Now, to us, it may seem strange that a sheep would really know someone's voice. but our extension agent Cole said it is true, and I believe him. Like 4-H, they know things, right, Maria? Even if a shepherd tries to use the same tune or the same lyrics or the same words, the sheep will not follow someone else. They are not that easily fooled. There's a story from a time when the British government is occupying Palestine. And there was a riot in a community seeking liberation and independence. And the response of the British government was to take all of their animals and to hold them in one place. And so E.E. Bishop, this historian, says, during the riots in Palestine in the middle 30s, a village near Haifa was condemned to collective punishment by having its sheep and cattle sequestered by the government. The inhabitants, however, were permitted to redeem their possessions for a fixed price. Among them, an orphan shepherd boy who had 6 or 8 sheep obtained the money for redemption. And he went to the big enclosure of animals that were penned, and he offered his money to the British sergeant in charge. And the guard told him he was welcome the requisite number of animals, but ridiculed the idea that he could possibly pick out his exact sheep. But the little shepherd boy knew differently. And giving his own call, his sheep separated from the flock and trotted out behind him. This metaphor invites us, it requires us to do deep listening, to know this good shepherd's voice, to know it within us, and to follow and to act. And this metaphor invites those who want to go alongside the good shepherd or to be a part of this work to understand the vulnerability of laying down in the midst of risk. Deep, deep risk. May we have the courage to follow. May it be so. Amen.